Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta get there fast, Sean.
Yeah.
Gotta get there fast, Sean. There it is.
Welcome Britball Nation to our BUCS Division 1 Preseason Power Rankings, this year brought to you via the magic of YouTube. We're really hoping to grow our video content at DC this year to help Uniball reach a much wider audience. So if you like the direction we're going in, remember to like this video, subscribe down below and maybe give us a share on Facebook. Before we jump into it, a couple of quick honourable mentions. The Sussex Saxons and Brighton Tsunami finished pretty much neck and neck in their race for the South East title last year, and while the Tsunami eventually pipped the Saxons to the conference crown, the move to the 1A South makes things look far more interesting for two teams who seemed to let their foot off the gas towards the end of last year. Both teams were one and done in the playoffs, but could well feature prominently in these rankings as the season gets underway.
10.
Rural have been a programme on the rise in recent years. Having spent many a season struggling at the bottom of the Southern Conferences, their last two campaigns have seen the Bears finish with only a single regular season loss each year. Seen as underdogs entering the playoffs, the Bears impressed when they dispatched the South East champs, the Brighton Tsunami, in the quarterfinals. However, the semis saw them square off against former conference and future varsity rivals, the Surrey Stingers, and the Bears were stung by the Stingers for the second time that year. While the Bears will be buoyed by the prospect of not having to face the Stingers during the regular season this year thanks to the realigned conferences, perhaps the most significant factor coming into this campaign is the departure of quarterback Idzi Baumgar, who gave the Bears offense its bite in recent seasons. Losing around a quarter of their roster in the off-season, the Bears will need their rookies to get up to speed fast. Hopefully marquee recruit quarterback Lewis Key of the London Warriors Juniors will help keep the Bears offense moving.
9.
It seems a little harsh to put the Wolves in at number 9, seeing as they were the only team to hand a defeat to the Premiership-bound NTU Renegades last year. Off-season losses for the Wolves were minimal, though they'll have to work hard to overcome the departure of 6-year veteran and defensive captain Wayne Drew, who graduated at the end of last season. While the Wolves might have been one and done in the playoffs last year, at first glance they would appear to be the heirs apparent to the 1A Midlands crown now that the Renegades have rolled pink all the way up to the Premiership. However, there might be a hitch in their plans. More on that later.
8.
The Rams went undefeated through 2015-16, though it's worth noting that at times it was a close run thing, 3 of their wins coming by a score or less. They took a fair few losses over the off-season but recruited well and expect to start the season with a week 1 roster of over 60, along with an impressively broad staff of 20 coaches. One of the ways the Rams have achieved this is keeping their graduates close by, with student veterans Luke Kinder and Jamie Worrell departing the university over the off-season only to return to the Rams as part of the coaching roster. The Rams will look to repeat last year's successes and benefit from fairly familiar opponents following the realignment. Their biggest rival is likely to be the Hallam Warriors team returning to Division 1 football after a gruelling year in the Premiership.
7.
It's easy to forget that against all pre-season expectations, the Raiders actually had a very successful 2015-16 campaign as their achievements were outshone by their nemesis, the Glasgow Tigers. The Tigers were the only team to defeat the Raiders last year. Painfully for the Raiders, however, they managed this achievement 3 times during 15-16, with back-to-back wins to open the season, followed by the Tigers booting Newcastle out of the playoffs in the semi-finals. Therefore, we might expect the Raiders to come into this season with a chip on their shoulder, and if things go as many expect them to, their season closing matchup against Glasgow in late February could well be a conference decider.
6.
The Immortals emerged battered but unbroken following a tough 2 years in the Premiership South. Harsh as it may be to say it, we expect there might have been something of a sense of relief when the Kingston Cougars pushed the Imperial College team out of the Premiership and gave the programme a chance to catch its breath. The Immortals will be eager to test their mettle against a different calibre of opponent than they've faced over the last 2 years, though loss of veteran offensive starters quarterback Kevin Kim and 4-year feature back Emmanuel Olabaju may mean that it takes the London side a little while to get fully up to speed. Look for star recruit Jason Kuhlman, formerly of Army football at West Point College, to feature heavily in the Immortals' plans to return to top-tier balling.
5.
In their previous campaign, the Stingers made it to the Southern Finals for a second season in a row, only to fall at the final hurdle once more. Feeling they lacked roster depth and weren't up to scratch when it came to strength and conditioning, the Stingers have made some significant changes during the off-season to improve their program, including regular team strength and conditioning sessions and a strong recruitment drive that will see the Stingers start the season with 50 to 60 players kitting up in week 1. The departure of offensive captains and standout playmakers, quarterback Jake Simpson and wide receiver Jacob Etherington, will be tough to overcome, but all in all the Stingers had good retention of starters, and this has allowed them to set their sights clearly on going one step further this season than they managed in the previous 2. They're not calling it promotion or bust, but you certainly get the sense that anything less would be a disappointment from the Stingers' perspective.
4.
Coming into this Uniball campaign off the back of a disheartening winless stint in the Premiership North, it's now been over a year since the Warriors won a regular season fixture. They did save some face when they defeated their varsity rivals, the Sheffield Sabres, in the 2016 Steel Bowl, and having been competitive in some of their fixtures, Hallam's hopes are that their roster has emerged all the stronger for having weathered the storm in the top tier. It was a so-so recruitment year in terms of numbers for the Warriors, however they've sent ripples around the league with the arrival of 2-time College Bowl winning quarterback Lewis "Dutch" Stevenson, formerly of the Sterling Klansmen. If the Warriors can stay healthy, don't be surprised to see them competing for a rapid return to the Premiership.
3.
Preseason reports are that Cardiff were hurt bad by graduations this off-season, especially on defence where 6 of their starting front 7 have moved on from Uniball. Quarterback Chris Brinkworth has graduated, and following a move to London for work, head coach Ben Watkins has been replaced by former Cobras wideout Sean Cook, who graduated over the off-season and now assumes both the head coach and defensive coordinator roles. Considering their high turnover of players, it might therefore be surprising to see the Cobras ranked so highly. However, remember that this Cobras team was the only Southern programme to really make the Premiership-bound Swansea Titans sweat last year, and they firmly believe they have all the pieces in place to not see a drop-off in form, aiming at the very least for a conference title.
2.
BUCS 15-16 was a truly dominant campaign for the Tigers, who conceded a mere 32 points across an 11-game season that took them all the way to the Division 1 North final, falling just shy of promotion for a second straight year with a 4-point loss to the NTU Renegades. The Tigers haven't lost a regular season game since the introduction of tiers to Uniball and have an 18-2 record over the past 2 seasons. Pre-season scrimmages against Edinburgh Napier and Sterling Klansmen mean the Tigers will come into the season well prepared, and we see no reason why the Tigers shouldn't be seeing their 3rd straight Division 1 North final in a row.
1.
No Nation, that wasn't a typo or a glitch in the video. DC are buying into the hype and picking the Nottingham Students as our pre-season favourites for promotion. How on earth can a team that finished only 4-4 last season be expected to suddenly make the leap into the Premiership? Well, having a hugely experienced coaching staff, including a head coach with 15 years coaching experience, 5 at an NCAA level, certainly helps. Nottingham also had a very impressive recruitment drive and expect to get up over 70 players in week 1. Oh, and they've been helped by the uni dropping some cash on 5 sporting scholars. Typically the realm of Premiership programmes, the Nottingham Students are bringing 5 new playmakers on board in the form of GB Lions quarterback Patrick Daly, former Swansea Titans standout running back Jacob Armadi, and 3 US imports, Peter Adams and Jacob Cheatham at wide receiver, and Bryce Wilson to bolster the O-line. Add these to a talented roster that already surpassed expectations last year by knocking the Rams out of the playoffs, and Nottingham appear the team to beat in Division 1. So, what do we think, Nation? Do you agree with our pre-season power rankings? Who do you think we missed out or shouldn't have included in the first place? Let us know in the comment section down below, and if you like what we've done with the power rankings and want to see more content like this from DC, hit that like button. If you don't want to miss out on what we're planning to build up to being daily updates to our YouTube channel, why not go ahead and give that subscribe button a little poke as well. In the meantime, play hard, play safe, and we'll see you Sunday for some live score updates.